What is going on, everybody? JT Best Ball here. Welcome into the nightcap. You know what we do. We come on at about 10 o'clock. We draft best ball teams. We try to figure this thing out. Some people say the game is solvable. Other people says we're all going to lose anyways. I tend to be more on the we're all going to lose anyways, but I'm going to keep trying. We were supposed to have Steve on tonight, but he has lost power due to some storms. It went out on him during his show earlier tonight, and so we'll have to reschedule that one. But we're still here. We have power. Let's draft some best ball teams.
I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space.
And I don't know why my intro just glitched out like that, but it did. Maybe we will lose power too. We shall see. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing okay tonight. I don't know what I want to draft. I was planning on, since they dropped the new Superflex contest, I was planning on doing some of those with Steve, the Superflex man himself. I don't know now. I want to get my eliminator numbers up, but I don't know. Maybe we will still go ahead and do some Superflex. It's a 20 max, and we only got in one of them so far today. I think it's a pretty good contest. I don't know if I'll have time to max it. Time is always my thing when it comes to drafting. But I mean, it's a pretty good contest, like I think it was Steve I heard on a stream earlier today pointed out that you actually double your money just for making the playoffs, right? And it's, the typical 2 out of 12. But then I really like tournaments that are like this, where it's 2 out of 10 and then 2 out of 12 in the next round also, because I just feel like it kind of helps you a little bit with the pod luck. We've all been there. You have a team, it makes the playoffs, you're excited for it, whether it's a 1 of 10, 1 of 12, even a 1 of 6. You could just be matched up against that team that just, goes nuclear in your pod. And then it's kind of tough. You finish second place with a really good, or second in your pod for week 15 with a really good score, but it's not good enough. What's up, Dirty P? Glad to see you make it in, my man. Thanks for stopping by, Meg. Yeah, no big deal at all. It's all good. We'll save some super flex for when we can get with him. I was looking forward to talking to him about it because he is the professor. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Like advance rates in the Superflex contest. Yes, no, I agree. That's what I was just talking about. I try to play in as many of the contests as I can that are 2 of 12 or 2 of 10 or even the like 1 of 5s. I'm the old school DraftKings guy, and over there it's like everything damn near is 1 of 12, 1 of 12, 1 of 12. So like it's been a lot of fun to me playing in all these contests like this. I'm going to hop in this one right at 10:06. I've been going off the time. It seems to work a little better. 10:06 by my clock now, so we are hopping in it. There is still 10 spots available. And you know what, Dirty P? I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision, my man. You come back Sunday night. I'm not even going to do a wheel this time. You are going to be this Sunday night's viewer appreciation. You're in dang near almost every one of my chats, and you hang around till the very end. We appreciate you, buddy. Next Sunday, this coming Sunday, is your night, sir. We can draft a sprint if it feels. If it doesn't feel, we can do a BBM or an eliminator. We appreciate you. Mark says that he hopped in the Superflex. Let's go. What's up, Who Hames? Good to see you in here, my man. Y'all know Who Hames. He streams at 4 o'clock. Y'all also know the Fanspeak Network. They're more of an evening time, but I need to go back and watch Jeopardy today. No spoilers. Don't tell me who won out of Hersick and friend of our streams, Cody. I haven't got to watch it yet. I was busy cooking dinner and stuff. Let's see what's going on. We are sitting in the 8 hole. Mark grabbed the 12 hole. I don't know. I needed to pick Steve's brain some more. That's why we were going to have him on tonight because I cannot quit drafting from the 8 spot on back. I cannot quit drafting the way that I do in Superflex, and some people tell me that it's wrong. I don't know. I have a really hard time, once Burrow's gone, even Pat Mahomes taking like him or Mayfield over guys like Bijan. I don't like to go receiver, but I will take like a Chase or a Jefferson and then just not draft that many receivers total and not take my second receiver for a while. I generally still end up with 3 quarterbacks. I am not by any means saying that I don't think quarterbacks are important, but it's like anytime, even back here on the very back, if you go position player at 8 and 17, well, as long as you're willing to triple tap quarterbacks at 32 and 41, and then on the way back right here at 56, you can end up with 3 starting quarterbacks. Your first 2 are going to be pretty decent. Your last one's probably going to be one of the last men in as far as starting quarterbacks you might want. But then you end up, with like a Jameer Gibbs on your team, maybe like a Genty or Derrick Henry. You can start with 2 just elite running backs that you can count on to help power you through at running back. We want the running back hitting our flex. We want 3 or 4 really good running backs to work with. So I just feel like it gets you off to a really good start. Now, don't get me wrong. Anytime I don't do this here, what the 4 hole did with Bijan, anytime I'm in the 1 through 4 spots, it's Allen, Daniels, Lamar, Hurts for sure. I mean, you can't. I don't think it's. I think it is very wrong to take a position player over, especially one of those 4 guys in the Superflex contest. So those aren't the ones that I'm talking about. But once we get back here, generally it's around 8 or 9. Burrow's gone, and it's like, I don't know, especially the way he's been the last couple years. Sure, he could have a bounce back and throw for 4,000 yards and a bunch of touchdowns, but I'm okay. Give me Gibbs. Maybe we'll even grab a Genty share here for our second running back. Or we could just go with the big dog, Derrick Henry. I think that's what I want to do, actually. I think we want to go with the big dog. We're going to start Gibbs and Derrick Henry, 2 just elite running backs. I believe I loaded this too. Yeah, all right. So these are my super flex percentages that we are showing right now. And I'll just triple tap. I'm just going to, when it comes back around, the next 3 picks, no matter what, should be quarterbacks. The only time you get boxed out, in my opinion, sometimes is on the very, very back end. If you are picking like 11 or 12, then every now and then in this 5th round, it gets too washed out. And there is no, for me, it's like the last guy that I really want as that 3rd quarterback when I'm building like this is pretty much Cam Ward, or I guess if I really feel I need that 3rd quarterback, I'll go Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna get Daniel Jones. I'll just wait and play like a Russell Wilson or something. Yes, I skipped over Sam Darnold and have 0% of him. He is still not even draftable in Superflex to me. That is how much I am out on Sam Darnold. I will draft a lot of Jalen Milroe, though, later on in the draft in Superflex. Yes, yes, we talked about it in the info. Luckily, his sister gave me the heads up a few minutes right before I was hopped on, but Steve had some bad storms tonight and his power is out. So we're going to draft some Superflex teams without him and see if we can't get a little bit better. I'm sure he'll be back on sometime soon. Knowing Steve, he's a great guy. I'm sure he'll hop back on with us another night. We are going to go. I think I like Love a little better than Herbert. Let's go with Jordan Love. We can just keep it on quarterbacks other than showing y'all the board, I guess, and then I'll have to reset it because when I go with the two position players, then it is always three quarterbacks in a row after that, and then we'll figure it out. If it works out, we'll have three starting quarterbacks who can hopefully provide enough firepower at QB and flex. Mark went with the double receiver start. I mean, he does have JJ and CD. I guess we'll see how he plays the receiver room the rest of the way. Knowing him, I'm surprised he didn't take CMC with that pick, honestly. But hey, JJ and CD are two of the top three receivers. Let's see, what is he's by week 5. We will grab Trevor Lawrence as our second QB. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, that's the QB room so far. We'll see what comes back to us on the backside. What's up, Green Bean? Good to see you in here. Throwing caution to the wind and double tapping JJ and CD. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. I noticed that. You can lobby, but my fingers have the final say so, sir. We can draft whatever you guys want. If anybody wants to do some drafts, I'm up for whatever. We can do another super flex after this. We can do an eliminator. I haven't done an eliminator in a while. Hit the like button if you would. If we get up to we'll set a 20 like goal. If we get up to 20 likes, we'll do a third draft. We're always going to do at least 2. So hit the like button if you forgot for some reason. But I know most of you guys are pretty good about that. 5 and 8. Ooh, we might have to take Tua here if he comes. Or we could wait, I guess. So I'm going to do a thing, I think. I've been preaching that we always triple tap quarterbacks, but I really don't like Tua, and I don't really want Geno because of the bye week. I'm going to go get Hampton, and we're just going to have just an elite RB room to count on getting one in the flex and 2 strong RB scores pretty much every week. Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, and my man Amari and Hampton. That does stress us at QB a little, but we got the 2. We got Love and Lawrence. I'm thinking on the way back I can probably get like a Daniel Jones or might even have to do like a Russell Wilson type thing later. Let me start, I guess, eyeballing up the ADPs and see where that's going to work out. I really didn't want. I like Geno, but I really didn't want to go Geno, and then I'm going to have 2 quarterbacks on week 8. And I saw that Hampton was there. If Hampton would have went to that guy right before me, then we were definitely prepared to go ahead and take. If Hampton would have went right before me, we were going to go ahead and take Geno. We're going to hold off again. We're going to really push this one at QB because I feel like we got Kittle. Okay, so we should, there's still the Bowers McBride teams out there, but we should have, a top 3, 4 score a lot of weeks with Kittle at tight end. We know what we're getting at running back. I mean, Gibbs, Henry, and Omari and Hampton. That's stout. We have 2 quarterbacks that we're kind of in on this year in general. Pushing receiver a little bit to make things happen. We only need to start 2 of them, so I feel like when need be on a build like this in the super flex, one easy thing you can do is just simply hit QB with volume a little later, maybe even draft 7 of them later or something. You only need to start 2 of them, so if the QB's ADPs are a lot later in this format because they get pushed further down the board with the quarterbacks and the running backs all getting pushed up the board. So it's kind of easy when you get in a bind, or not even really a bind, when you're building this particular style of team, to just kind of push quarterback a while and catch up later. If he hangs around, do we have anybody else in here? I didn't even check the rest of them. I don't recognize all of you guys' names yet, but if somebody other than Mark is in the draft, let me know in the chat. I'll shout you out. We could go with our first receiver here. Daniel Jones hung around for us, though, so we'll go ahead and grab him. Kind of feel like he'll probably be a starting quarterback. We're good at tight end. We got 3 elite running backs, guys that I think I'm super in on this year at least. What's up, Chris? How did Ballsies go tonight? I didn't really get a chance to watch much of it. I was cooking. That's another. I need to go back and watch Ballsy, and I need to go back and watch Jeopardy from tonight. I think you should do that a few times. Are you talking about Mark's JJCD? Are you talking about the particular style of build that we are going with here? Let's see, 89. Do we want to see if Russ will come back? I think Russ is going to start more games than a lot of people want to admit this year. And, Jordan Love has an early bye week, week 5. I think Russell Wilson definitely makes it through that. If things are going somewhat well, I could see him also making it through week 8. If he makes it through week 8, then I'll feel good about it because hopefully he'll give me some good games along the way, and then that'll ensure that for those 2 early bye weeks, I have 3 quarterbacks still potentially to put up points. Also, kind of a backdoor in case for some reason AR, can actually play football during camp and actually stays healthy during camp, and then actually overtakes what probably is Daniel Jones' job at this point. That's a lot of what ifs, but it could happen, I guess. So in that case, that Daniel Jones does not start the year as their quarterback, then Russ gives me, a third quarterback that we can depend on. Probably going to be time to grab our first receiver whenever it comes back around to us. The Ballsy crew was shoveling dirt on Dirty P's guy, Steph Diggs. I like some Steph Diggs. I don't draft him a ton just because I'm always a little cautious with guys coming off of injuries. Hmm. You guys know I'm a sucker for some team stacks, and we have Kittle, so we'll take Jennings. We are a sucker for some team stacks. Training camps are going to get going. I think tomorrow, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think tomorrow is the day that like most teams really ramp up and get things going. Next thing you know, boys, we'll be in the middle of August or early August, news coming at us in waves, preseason games going on. We'll be overreacting to every little roster thing that goes on in said preseason games because that is just what we do. I like Diggs here, but I'm going to take Golden since he stacks with our quarterback. Try to catch up a little bit at receiver. Eventually, we'll grab us another running back. With these four quarterbacks, we'll probably just be done. If we do take another quarterback, it'll probably be like a last round backup dart throw for the fifth guy. I just think, even the Milrose, who I love, I have 50% Milrow and Superflex. So, yeah, I guess you could say I love him. Part of it, though, is just because of the way I build, and I only did 38 or something like that of the first Superflex. And it seemed like I had a lot of picks in the 8 through 12 spot. And we were talking about how I normally build from that spot. And so, a lot of my teams would end up with three quarterbacks that I drafted in the third, fourth, and fifth round. My fifth round guy is not that strong. So then, yes, I would try to make it a point to throw Milrow on as my fourth quarterback because I just felt like that gives me a lot of upside if I'm right about Sam Darnold losing the job after my Texans defense thrash him on Monday night, week 7, right before their bye week. We might have to break us out some bourbon or something for that night. Let's see. I think we could go scat, but I think I could use a receiver here. I think I could use a receiver here more. That gives us 3 receivers. Trying to catch up a little bit there before we grab another running back. Now I feel like we're kind of at the point, you know, I don't need another tight end for a while. We have Kittle. Not taking another quarterback till the very end. So now we can kind of just, for a few rounds, when there's a running back there we like, grab him. If not, add a little more depth to the receiver room. Feel like we got some nice flexibility. Let's see what running backs and receivers are out there right now. I don't really like any of the running backs. Let's go. You know what? I was just telling myself the other day, or thinking about it to myself, that I want to start taking a little more Keon Coleman. I don't have a lot of him because I would say 3 out of 4 times I take Lamar over Allen. That's just how I wanna play it. I wanna have a huge Lamar percentage when it's all said and done. And typically, I had only been targeting Coleman on Allen teams, but I don't know, he's a second-year guy playing in a really, really good offense. I don't think he's gonna be a guy who hits your lineup, every week or anything like that, but when he does, I think he could hit with, some nice spike weeks. For our fourth receiver and a super flex on a build like this, I think that's kind of a good thing to do. And I heard Aaron Jones was a smash. Spent the rest of the pod hurling into the trash can. I like Aaron Jones a little bit. I mean, their offensive line got an upgrade. They're going to win some games. I am not by any means saying that Aaron Jones is a smash, though. I think that is a little bit of a stretch. Come to the Who crew, Dirty. We love Diggs. Pretty sure Dirty P's already in the Who crew. Think we'll get back in the running back room here. Unless he goes, we think we want us some Rashard White. We'll grab him. Guess we'll leave it up there like that for a little bit. That way we can see all the value. What's Mark doing over there in the 12 hole? One thing I was going to talk to Steve about tonight, and I was asking Candyman and Hartman about it last night when we were together. By the way, if y'all missed that and you hit a dead spot, go back and watch our stream from last night. It was right here on my channel. We had some fun. We talked about players that we want to get more of. We were trying to do a three-man challenge draft where all three of us were in the same draft and we all three had to take 4 running backs only. Hartman didn't quite get in the room with us, so it turned out it was just me and Candyman. And Candyman got auto picked a 5th running back. So we're going to say that I won the challenge. I think we'll go Roshan here. Probably should have taken another receiver, but I like Roshan. They could still end up getting another running back, but I feel like I just got this gut feeling that Johnson is good. Ben Johnson is just good with, for the most part, Roshan and Swift kind of playing the Gibbs and Montgomery role. Not to the same extent, of course, but let's face it, Caleb and those receivers overall, if Caleb is who they drafted him to be, then he should be better than Goff to where they won't rely as much on the run as necessarily Detroit did. It was a good little show, though. If y'all missed it, go back and watch it. Who Hames? I was near hearing. Don't think he'll be ripping drafts with Nez. We live on different mountains. It's funny. Let's see. We have 5 running backs. I still need to get me a few more receivers. I think a room like this, that's kind of a reach, though. Let's see what tight ends are out there. I don't like them. We're not afraid to reach. ADP is just a suggestion. We have 2 rookies. We have a second-year guy in Coleman. I think Thielen makes a lot of freaking sense on a team like this. Kinda help me out early in the year if Golden and Higgins starts off a little slow. I think he made a lot of sense right there. Maybe we could have got him to come back to us, but there wasn't anything that we just absolutely loved. So we went with it. Let's see. Not sure what we want to do here. We could do the Dylan Sampson thing since he may or may not be the dude. Or we could get us another tight end. We're going to go Mason Taylor if we can get it in. I'm so torn what to do with Sampson. We were talking about that last night, me and Hartman and Chris. And it's like, Hartman had a really good point, which, we all probably know it, that like, let's say in the next 2 weeks or so, some news comes out that makes the Judkins thing look even worse or makes it look like, okay, there is a really, really good chance that this guy is going to end up on the exempt list, you know, probably going to be suspended 5, 6, 7 games, whatever. Sampson is going to almost instantly fly up the board to a spot that you probably don't necessarily feel comfortable taking him. So that's why I think for me at least it's kind of a tough situation because like part of me wants to start getting some more shares of him because I didn't have that many of him before the whole Judkins thing. But then there's the other side of me that's like, well, we don't know, right? And there's some people whose opinions I trust or I trust them, they don't just go out there spewing craziness. But I've heard from some people that I trust their opinion that some of them seem to think that there's a good chance that this thing just kind of drags out, and that, yeah, he'll probably eventually be suspended, but it won't be this year. So I don't know. It's kind of tough. I don't really know what to do with him. Is there any guys that we just like or love here? Not necessarily. We have 5. We're going to take Bashard Smith. We'll probably just be done now at running back. I mean, we took the big 3 up top: Gibbs, Henry, Omari, and Hampton. Then we have 3 guys: Rashard White, Johnson, and Smith, that we like also behind them. Crazy enough, don't have any overlapping bye weeks, even with having 6 of them. That doesn't happen too often. Probably go with a receiver here. Kind of for the same reason that we took Thielen. I think Darius Slayton makes a lot of sense here. We have Wilson, right? We want Wilson doing well for this team. We need a guy who can maybe help us out early in the season if it takes a little bit for Golden and Higgins to get going. We're going to go one more receiver to get to 7. And then that last pick is going to come down to, do I want to just take a random backup quarterback, or do we want to go with a tight end? Even though we have Kittle, I think I'm kind of maybe leaning towards a third tight end. I don't know. We'll start looking at it in a minute and see what we come up with. Just when you think the vibes couldn't get any worse in Cleveland, I really ought to quit drafting Browns. Thing is, I liked Sampson as a prospect. If that news comes out, I'm okay taking him before Travis Etienne. But until then, I don't want to chase zero up the board. That's kind of where I'm at. I think if the news came out that, but then it's still tough, right? Because like if Judkins, let's say news comes out and it looks pretty dang certain he's going to be suspended 6 or 7 games. Well, one, that sucks because I have like 20% Judkins before the news dropped. Oh well, it is what it is. But then it's like depending on how far Sampson gets pushed up the board, do we really want? Let me make this pick, then we'll talk more about it. I was really hoping that Kirk Cousins would have hung around one more pick. I was going to go ahead and grab him. I'm going to go with the third tight end. A rookie with some upside, Elijah Arroyo. That gives us 2 rookie tight ends who we kind of like. Maybe they can give us some nice spike weeks here and there. They all kind of correlate in the playoffs with things that I have going on, anyways. And we waited till the last pick for receiver just to kind of see who was out there. We could go with Mitchell if he holds. If Mitchell does not hold, then we probably will go with Savion since we have Love. I would prefer Mitchell just because he has a week 11 bye week. We do have 3 guys already out on week 14, but it's receiver, and we only have to start 2 of them. By week 14, Golden and Higgins should be, pretty set in their offenses. That's when we expect rookies to really be smashing anyways. We'll go ahead and finish it off with Mitchell. Finished with a 4.673. Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson. I think the QB room's good enough considering what we did to make it that way, or what we did that made it be that way. Hopefully Daniel Jones plays most, if not all, of the year. Hopefully Russ does also for this particular team. Elite running back room up top: Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Omari, and Hampton. White, Roshan, and Brashard Smith. Behind those 3, I feel like we can count on getting 2 running backs and a flex out of that every single week, like clockwork. So then we really just need 2 of these guys to hit on a weekly basis: Jennings, Golden, Higgins, Coleman, Thielen, Slayton, Mitchell. I personally think I did it nice there, adding like Slayton and Thielen to kind of help the rookies out, like we talked about. Tight end room: Kittle, Taylor, and Arroyo. Definitely a pretty nice tight end room overall. We have Kittle holding it down, and we can just kind of take the spike weeks as they come, hopefully from some rookies. Let's go look at good old buddy Mark's team, see what he worked with over there. 4.772, McCarthy, Penix, Geno, and Jalen Milrow. I know he took the two receivers first, so that's probably why his QB room is like that. Also, it could work if my theory's right about Milrow. Nice late season upside from him out there running around. Running back room: Walker, Swift, Roshan, Jalen Wright, Rico, Kendre Miller, and Brooks. Kenneth Walker, Swift, and Roshan up top, right, Rico, Miller, Brooks behind. I mean, it could work. I already know what I'm gonna say. Maybe you could have done a little different. Just my opinion, though. J.J. Lamb, Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Hollywood Brown, Thornton, Naylor, Hawkinson, and Kraft in your tight end room. I like your tight end room a lot. I think the quarterbacks can work. Obviously, you're super strong at receiver. I know you're really in on Ridley. I know you like Myers. He's kind of your flavor of the week, and that's kind of what you do is have a flavor of the week. But I think this team, especially considering it's a super flex, just my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think if you would have went with another running back instead of Ridley or Myers, whichever you prefer, maybe Ridley just because he's the higher pick, and had a third guy in there that you picked maybe around 80 something, and then still taking your Ramondre pick at 130, then that would have gave you four guys at least, that's like for sure starters because the rest of the guys are kind of backups. I mean, Miller and Brooks, they might not have much value unless there's an injury. Rico and Wright could have some value even without an injury, but it's still not going to be, just like smashes in your lineup. And I mean, you did go JJ and Lamb to start. And I just feel like if you're going to build a team with JJ and Lamb, then you're probably better off keeping it at maybe like six at the most receivers, possibly even five, and just holding off a while, maybe like even if you would have just taken another running back with 80, what was that, 85, and then still did Myers, Brown, Thornton, all the rest of them that you did. I mean, that's still plenty enough at receiver. You only have to start two of them, and you're counting on Jefferson and Lamb pretty much being there all the time. Just my thoughts. It still could work though. It's not a bad team. Just the one thing I would have probably done differently. What do you guys want to draft? Talk to me. I'll give it a second to see if anybody wants to. Oh, and look who showed up.
Hey, how's it going?
Sorry, Steve. I don't know how long you were there. I was over talking about Mark's team and
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I heard you review the team. I'd messaged you on Twitter like 10 minutes ago, but I thought I'd
ah,
jump in and 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 catch you. So yeah, sorry, had a power outage. Anyone who was watching my show with
it's
Andrew,
okay.
I went out at the end there, and I wasn't able to. So I didn't even get to watch Basketball Jeopardy on Fanspeak. So yeah, it's been a rough night, but I'm glad I could jump in now.
Well, I tell you what, since you jumped in, let's get the professor's thoughts. What I was telling Mark, and let me see if I'm learning anything from you, is Mark, my good buddy, y'all know who he
Hmm.
is by now. He was in the 12 hole and he did a double receiver start with
Okay.
Jefferson and Lamb. And I was just telling him that, like, if you are going to do that, maybe right here instead of Ridley at 88 or 85,
Hmm.
maybe take another running back there because, he had like Walker and Swift. If he has another running back that he took, say, at 85, and then Ramondre's is fourth, that kind of helps his running back room out a little more, I think, especially since you started with JJ and Lamb.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'd say to that is kind of that exactly. Like when you start with JJ and Lamb, you're kind of just expecting them to be your two receivers pretty much every week. So, and not and whether it's like pivoting Ridley's pick to a running back or just like going an eighth running back, like only doing six receivers and adding an eighth running back, even if it's late, I think could help balance it out a little bit more because I just think, um, the rest of those guys are mainly playing for the flex position. And yeah, they'll probably hit it more often since you don't have as deep of running backs. But you know, could you just look at his receivers again? Like, because I saw like Hollywood there,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. He had JJ and
Jacoby.
Lamb, and then he took
I mean, those are
Ridley, Myers.
very strong and correlated receivers. But I just think, I mean, honestly, you could have stopped at five and done it that way. Now you'd allow week 10 buys, so I wouldn't have necessarily done that. But it's it's when you have two elite receivers like that. I just don't think it you add a lot by continuing to add to the receiver pile.
Mhm. That's kind of basically the same thing that I was telling him too. Now for the moment of truth. So you know my strategy. I talked about it at the beginning, and it's like I just cannot. When I have picks 1 through 4, I don't do what this guy did. Like I'm always taking the Allen, Daniels, Jackson, or Hurts. Most
Hmm.
of the time, I'm going to take Burrow if I have 6. But once I get past them, I just have such a hard time taking like even Mahomes or Mayfield over
Yeah.
those type of running back sets up there. This one, I actually pushed quarterback even a little more than I normally do because I didn't like the guy that came back to me in round 5. So, like, we went with Love and Lawrence up top, and then we just grabbed Jones and Wilson a little later. But then our running back room, we have Gibbs, Henry, Hampton, Rashard White, Rashard Smith. Receivers, we have Jennings, Golden, Higgins, Coleman. I grabbed Thielen and Slayton just since I did
Hmm.
kind of have, the rookies up top and stuff, kind of helping them out early, I guess.
No,
Threw
I
on
think that's
Adonai
good.
Mitchell. Tight end room, we went with Kittle, Mason Taylor, and Arroyo.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you still got three. I think Daniel Jones is pretty much a clear starter. I think Russ is going to start a good chunk of the
Mhm.
year, whether that's 8 games, whether that's 12 games, whether it's whole season, we don't know. But it's also, he also fits better on a team like you had where your top two quarterbacks are Love and who was it, Lawrence. So week 5
Yeah,
and week
yeah, with
8
the early
bye.
buys.
So he's going to help cover, he should almost guaranteed to cover those buys outside of injury. So I think
Mhm.
that adds just value to him. And then just every week, you know, even a bad starter is a bad starter. Like you would be surprised how often they're going to fill in like your super flex. And no, really alpha, strong running back room. And, um, the receivers, like you have starters, like it's sure other teams' receivers are going to look better, but your running backs and quarterbacks are going to be better than a lot of them. And you also got an elite tight end in Kittle. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of times when I get Kittle, like I don't add a third tight end. So you could have maybe thrown that to an eighth receiver just to add more depth since you're so strong at the other positions. But I think that's a very strong team.
I thought about it. I was debating on adding Savion to the
Yeah.
team since we had Love instead of him, but I don't know. I guess I'm not super confident in Mason Taylor. And so
Mm.
I was like, well, at least if I take in, I'm not super confident in Arroyo either,
Yeah.
but I feel like both of them could be some rookie tight ends that just give you a nice spike week here and there or something. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree though. Most of the time, if I have Kittle, I try to get a more reliable second tight end than Mason Taylor, and then I probably would have stuck like that too. But
But I also think you were structurally right, taking guys like Thielen and Slayton to balance out the rookies to give you just veteran solid coverage is I think very good in this.
mhm. All right. Well, originally I was planning on maybe doing like some eliminators with you or something like that, but we can draft whatever you want. I know you love Superflex. If you want to do
Yeah,
Superflex,
I
we
mean
can. If you want to do a
let's do Superflex. I mean, there would be plenty of time later in the summer to jump on and
yeah,
do
yeah,
eliminators or
exactly.
sprints again.
And I like this structure a lot too. That's what we were talking about at
Yeah.
the beginning of the stream. Why I went ahead and drafted it, anyways. I was telling people, especially being the old DraftKings guy that just moved over this year. We don't have tournaments in DraftKings that often that are like 2 of 10 and 2 of 12.
Hmm.
advancing in the playoffs. And so you know how it is. It always sucks. You could have a
Yep.
really good team, but finish second in your pod because somebody just went nuclear or whatever that
Yeah.
week. And so I've been trying to play in as many of the underdog tournaments that have like the one of fives or the two of
Hmm.
tens, that type of stuff.
No,
All right, Chad, if you
I
want
think
to
they're
hop
very
in there
strong.
with us at 10:53. I've been kind of going with the minute thing. I used to do the countdown thing like everybody else, and somebody one night on my stream suggested it because nowadays everybody's phones and computer time wise is pretty
Yeah.
much synced up, and it seems to work pretty good. We have a
Yeah.
decent amount of people
That's
who
not a bad idea.
I just
Um,
get ready right here, and as soon as it hits 53, we click in, and whoever else wants to hops in also.
nice.
Let me turn that off. Oh, I don't know why that's even showing up. I have it off. That's weird. That's weird. I have that off, but it's still showing up. Hmm. Two more, waiting on two. But yeah, like that one guy that was in the draft, he took Bijan early. I don't do that now. I try to play the super flex smart. It's just it's hard for me to take
Well, I think where
Mahomes over
you,
like a
yeah, like
Gibbs or
taking those running backs, like I was in the draft earlier on Huheim's channel, and I had the seventh pick, and it went quarterbacks 1 through 5. Um, I can't remember if it was Chase or I think it was Barkley. Um, and I think I took Bijan, and or vice versa. And then in the second round, like I had a great running back come back to me. Like I think a chain was there. I can't remember Taylor. I think regardless, so I went running back, maybe CMC. But so then I tried to go catch up at quarterback, but I actually had to really catch up because quarterbacks were flying. I had to take Daniel Jones at like 60. Um, so yeah, but I was in trouble.
yeah, Huhaim said it was Bijan
Yeah.
CMC.
Yep. So I don't mind doing that, but you do have to still make sure you get your quarterbacks. Like if you get boxed out of quarterback, it's not going to matter what star you get.
Yeah, that is true. And that's why generally like the 8 through 12 spot, generally I will end up starting with like two position players, but then almost always I will just tack three quarterbacks on my next three picks like clockwork. That
Yeah.
last one I didn't just because it the only one really left that I liked in the fifth round was Gino, and Gino had the same bye week as one of my other ones,
Yeah.
week 8. So I was like, well, I can just grab, Hampton here and make my running back room even that much stronger, and then try to get one of at least Daniel Jones or Russell Wilson. And it worked out that I was able to get both of them. So
Yeah.
that
No,
was
I mean
nice.
that definitely worked out because you don't always get that, but no, that's what's nice. And I a lot of times like I don't mind in the first pivoting away from quarterback after the top 5 go, but in the second a lot of times I will just take that quarterback, whether it's like a Nix is there, a Kyler, a Fields, whoever it is,
Mhm.
just because they still have that upside. If they approach the top 5, definitely top 10, you could just really need them.
Yeah, and I agree. Like that's one thing. I think I said it last time I drafted Superflex with you. I need to. Sometimes we can be hard headed, right? And we just get stuck in our ways. And I need to be more open to doing it, even from this side of the board.
Yeah,
Because like I do that even sometimes over here. Like even with like a Lamar or an Allen, I'll grab a quarterback, in the second or third round to have that second quarterback that's also really good. What do you like here? Talk to
I'd
me.
go Barkley. Yeah, I typically am taking Barkley at this spot. I don't generally take Mahomes over Barkley.
Okay. Let's see. I think Barkley was on the board in my last one. I went with Gibbs over him just because I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, I think you can make the Gibbs case as well,
So
but
that's kind of nice to do Barkley because I think this is the same spot I had last time, that 8 spot. So
nice.
this time we'll go Barkley, and we could do a quarterback in the second round this time. I'm gonna build it your way and see how
All
much
right.
better I like it.
And it's like I know, like particular receivers or some of these things fall, but it's yeah, you just I always feel, like we did another super flex on Huey Channel after that, and I went heavy quarterback. I think I had the fourth pick, and I still had. I'm trying to remember. Like Lad McConkey was my top receiver. My running backs were, you know, Joe Mixon, James Conner. Like, it's still a good team.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think just because the guys get pushed down, you still will get some good top end running backs and receivers no matter what.
Yeah, I no, that makes sense, and, let's see who, somebody reached down for Fields, so I'm assuming Baker?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Baker.
Baker
Absolutely.
normally isn't there at this particular
No,
pick.
this is a good value for Baker.
Yeah, and even on the back end, I will say with receivers, like, I don't know if I've done what Mark did where you go 2 receivers, maybe a couple times I have, and it would have been like those 2 if it's not Jamar Chase and Jefferson or Lamb. Those are about the only 3 that
Hmm.
to me is worth, taking. Once it's for me, it's either the running backs is who I prefer, I prefer
Yeah.
like Gibbs or CMC, um, and then if one of them are gone, that's generally when I'll get like, a Jefferson here and one other running back. Or there has been times where like if I was this 12 hole guy here, I probably would have went with JJ and probably taken one of the quarterbacks just because I'm not super in on Genty this year myself.
Yeah. No, and I think I don't look. I didn't do it a lot in the puppy, and I'm probably not going to do a lot in here. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking one, like you said, those first three receivers, like in the first round or at the turn there. But I would only do one. Like I don't think I ever did receiver receiver. I did receiver running back. I did running back, receiver quarterback, or quarterback quarterback.
Hmm.
I don't think I ever did receiver receiver because as good as that looks, like, and I think Mark's team was still fine, but it's just you can get behind at both running back and quarterback, and to me that's scary.
Yeah, I agree because you either got to still take, like I do, the 3 quarterbacks with the next picks to try to catch
Hmm.
up, but then you're not drafting your first running back until
Yeah,
what, the 6th.
yeah, yeah. So that's where it gets to be a little. It can start to get thin. Not to say that there aren't going to be some teams that advance from it. I just think you've made it harder on yourself.
I would agree, and that's what I said. I don't think I did it. I'd have to look back at my teams. If I did, like you were saying when you were going over Mark's team, maybe just make sure you play your bye weeks better and only draft 5 of them so you
Yeah,
can somewhat catch up. Because we only have to start 2 of them.
exactly. Yeah.
Who you
Um,
like here? You like Herbert better than Goff?
I'd go
Reach down
Herbert.
for JJ?
Yeah, I think Herbert is. Think he's got a little bit more. One, he's got a little rushing ability, so
Mhm.
that puts him over Goff for me. The other quarterbacks are all kind of. Lawrence, I think, has maybe the highest upside of that group, just if Liam
Yeah,
Cohen can unlock him.
yeah.
But yeah,
I'd agree. I do worry a little bit about golf this year, just because historically the times when golf is bad is when you can get pressure on him, right? And like you Detroit's even said it themselves, we got to keep him clean or whatever.
yeah.
And they lost their center, they lost their guard, so I don't know. We'll see. Like I'm not saying he's going to be, trash and they're going to suck or anything, but it wasn't like he was consistently a world beater anyways. He'd have some nice spike weeks for you here and there when they were throwing the ball a lot, but I have a hard time clicking him this year.
Well, another thing is two things also played into his performance, especially late in the year last year. One, their defense was so banged up that they were just giving up points. Now, it still might not be a great defense, but that might be a little better. And then the other thing is when David Montgomery went down, they really had to throw the ball more. Gibbs is still
Mhm.
Gibbs, but they threw the ball more down the stretch. So that just might not
Yeah.
occur this year.
Let's see. A couple picks away. Bucky's up there at the top. JT's also there if we wanna go running back or if we wanna make sure we get a 3rd starter now because the room's kinda pushing quarterback even more so than normal. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, um, I think I would just take Bryce Young and be happy with it. Especially I know you're not a Darnold guy. So
No. That's
so
kinda what I was thinking too. We do have the one running back, Barkley, up top. He can kinda
mhm,
hold, the top end of it down. I do like when I get 3 starting quarterbacks like that.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think when it comes back, I mean, maybe you get a chance like sometimes Lad will fall back because now these teams who only have one quarterback might grab one or two here.
Mhm,
But even if Lad doesn't fall back, like there's going to be a running back or another receiver we could take, and
mhm.
so yeah, I think we're in a good spot.
Feeling pretty good about it myself. Barkley, Baker, Herbert, Young. It's working out. One
Yep.
thing I was gonna ask you too is, now this isn't obviously pertaining to the super flex, but I was
Hmm.
talking with my friend Mark the other day, and I told him I don't know why, but in the regular style formats, and part of it is because you know that I'm really in on Lamar, and you also know that I'm more of the if I have Lamar, I'm only drafting 2 quarterbacks. And I've been
Hmm.
ending up with a lot of builds that are 2-7-7-2, and I really like them a lot. They generally end up where the running back room and receiver room, one isn't more overpowered than the other, but they're kind of balanced and I like them, maybe like 4 running backs up top that you can count on with 3 of the, Shipleys, Giddens, Brashard Smiths of the world mixed
Yeah.
in the bottom. And I don't know, what do you think about I've been asking people when I talk to them just we can make this pick first, but I guess here are we just gonna grab I'm assuming we kinda thinking the
I
same
go
maybe?
I go Hampton. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Makes sense. We have Herbert, and I just like him a lot as a
Oh
player.
yeah.
We don't know how Najee's eye is really.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much of anything. The team seems to think it's not gonna be a big
Yeah.
deal,
Like
but
there's
he
there's
isn't starting training camp,
Yeah,
so
but that's could be such a thing.
I know, I
But
know.
but you were asking about like the 2-7-7-2. I mean, so much of it depends. I'm much more two tight end than I am two quarterback. I do two quarterbacks sometimes, but it's not my favorite. Um, I'm also like when I do two quarterback with elite, it's usually because I've done like a mid tier with him. I don't necessarily love like Lamar and Gino or Lamar and Rogers or be a Josh Allen same argument. Um, but so on typically those types of builds, then I'll just add another late quarterback. But yeah, the 7-7, hitting both those positions and just putting a lot, like you said, some balance to it. Like a couple guys you can count on, and then just some shots, either spike weak receivers or some of those rookie running backs. I think that's a smart way to build those out if you feel good enough about the quarterback and tight end room.
Yes. We're on the clock here again. Do we wanna grab our first
Let's go
receiver
Mike
here?
Evans. I think Evans is
That makes a lot of sense to me. That's what I was going to
yeah.
suggest, but I assumed you'd be on board. Always nice having stacks. That is, I talk about it all the time. That's kind of I'm a little different, I guess, than some. I know some are like live and die by the week 17 stuff, and that's
Yeah.
like their priority. Like for me, it's always like, let me build my correlation within my teams first. And then, like, because I look at kind of the playoffs overall, and I guess that comes more so from my DraftKings days, because like we talked about over there, almost everything is like 1 of 12, 1 of 12. And
Hmm.
so it's like, once you get into the playoffs, and so the last couple years over there, I kind of looked at the playoffs as a whole. Like, what are your playoff schedules as a whole? And like tried to players that I liked that also maybe was a bring back for week 15 or week 16,
Yeah.
or whatever, just because it's hard to get out of those 1 out of 12s over there.
No, and I agree. Like I'll use week 17 as a tiebreaker, but there are teams where I'll look at where I'll end up with week 17 correlation. I didn't even realize it. There's teams I look at where I end up with zero week 17 correlation, but I just love the team because it's all built structurally well. I love the players. I love the value that I got. Um, you know,
Mhm.
I think a better build is always going to be more ideal than the perfect week 17 correlated team.
Yes, exactly. That is how I kind of think about it myself. So what do you like to do with like quarterbacks like this? Or when you have these three, are you just waiting later to take more with like the
No,
backup
no.
types?
So I mean, if Daniel Jones is sitting there at 80, I think it makes a lot of sense because okay, and he goes, but um, I won't don't mind tacking on not right now, but like a Russ or somebody like that
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
round
yeah.
or two. Um,
We want to go with Connor, or we want to grab another receiver.
let's go Connor. I think make the running back room stronger, especially with the Judkins situation.
Hmm.
Running back is a little weaker right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Help get us off to a good start. One thing about the eliminator is when I haven't been drafting them lately, but when I was drafting them, shout out to Who Hames and his little week 1 through 7 chart or whatever that he has in his Discord. I was looking over it and trying to find some guys that I thought was like, real nice first 6 week schedules. And
mhm.
if you look at Arizona's first 6 games, it's like a running back's dream. It's like Tennessee, New Orleans, like just all these teams that are like, man, I can see Connor smashing in that game. I can see him
Nice.
smashing in that game. So he was a heavy target of mine in the eliminators.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense, and just so good. I mean, Connor's issues. He's always banged up every year. He's going to miss a couple
Mhm.
games. In years past, it was early in the year. Last year, unfortunately, it was late. But he's when he plays, like his per game, his per snap, his per touch numbers are just extremely good every year. Um,
What are you thinking here? You want to do like Ridley as a second receiver now, or Pacheco as another running back? What do you like?
let's let's do Pacheco. I feel like running back really starts to thin out.
Hmm.
I think the receivers we'll get back are going to be better. We could double tap that then.
That makes
Hopefully.
sense. And that's a nice room, Barkley, and then you know what you're getting with him, and then behind him you have Hampton, Connor, and Pacheco. That's super nice. No
And I
bye
think,
week issues.
yeah, and I think the key is like we're trying to not just fill the two running back spots, but ideally fill the flex with that.
Exactly.
And Pacheco is, I mean, Ridley Pacheco are probably relatively even in terms of point projection, but receivers just so much deeper, and you don't need to use as many of them, so it's even deeper in Superflex. Um, so yeah, I
No,
think
it makes total sense, and that's why I would like that last team. That's why I went ahead and took Hampton as that third running back because I didn't necessarily want Gino with the same buy as one of my other
yeah,
guys, and Hampton was still there. So I was like, well, shoot, I know I can count on two running backs and the other one being in the flex a lot of weeks. So
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And this is an area where I do think Russ did go. I was going to say if Russ came back to us, I think there'd be a value there. But and you could take Jackson Dart, but we could also just wait at quarterback and
take
sometimes
a
it needs
couple
yeah
backups.
take two backups and because I think our running back room is going to be very strong. Can almost definitely stop at six there.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think we probably double tap receiver here, and then that will probably feel pretty good.
We could double up Baker if you wanted to do
Yeah,
that,
I
or
don't,
see
I
if it
don't,
comes
I
back and
don't
do
mind.
Jennings.
I don't mind that for two reasons. One, I think there's plenty of weeks where both can be very viable, but also we're almost guaranteed with only needing to start two receivers, particularly if our flex is being played out. through the running back. Of course, our super flex played out through the quarterback. It's hard to believe there's going to be many weeks where one of Evans or Godwin are not having a pretty damn good week, like
Yeah.
high
Mhm.
teens, low 20s type point game. And I do think there's going to be games where they both could count for us. Um, so yeah, we just kind of like we have that Buccaneers pass tech. I know they have other guys, but I think most weeks one of them are hitting for sure, and a handful of weeks both will. So yeah, I like that, and I think we probably take a receiver on the way back here.
Yes, I would agree with that. We'll see who comes back to us. And going back, you were saying to the two quarterback build thing. I will say now, like I almost try my best to never get down to that Geno range, as
Yeah,
my seconds. And if I was to go through and look at a lot of my Lamar teams, it's normally like Lamar and Dak or Lamar and Love or Lamar
yeah,
and CJ, something like that. So I would agree that like because I do two quarterbacks, I don't like to wait to the
yeah,
end for my second guy. And if it's not Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, or Lamar, then typically I am a 3 quarterback guy most of
hmm
the time, unless I just get boxed out or something and have like a CJ and Dak and got
yeah,
boxed out on a third, so I'm like, "Okay, whatever, I'll just run with those 2."
yeah. No, I mean, and look, I think if you're building at volume, you should always have multiple builds.
Take the
Um,
dip on Addison?
Yeah, I think we'll catch up at receiver elsewhere. I mean, there's other receivers I really like there, but uh, the dip on Addison, it's like a round dip that anytime you get a round of value, I think is positive.
And just looking at it at the end, like his isn't an injury, so
Exactly.
even if it's the full 3 games, whenever he gets in there, he should be, ready to go 100% or
Yeah.
whatever.
No,
Could only be 1 or 2 games.
what and this is the thing, honestly, kind of the same argument for Chris Godwin. That is an injury, but both these guys are because of their early season concerns, right? Now, granted,
Mhm.
Godwin maybe he suffers another injury, but it wasn't like an ACL or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and so the point being is, early season they could struggle, and honestly, this could be another team where guys like Thielen or Slayton or those kind of guys that we feel good about
Mhm.
make sense because to help cover those early games. But end of the year, if you or mid-season, like when they do the best ball resurrection, Chris Godwin and Jordan Addison are going to go way higher in that. Like they're going to
Mhm.
go, and that's regular best ball. But same thing if
Yeah.
there was a resurrection for Superflex, they would each go a round, if not 2 rounds above where they're going right now.
No, that makes sense. Let's see, Dirty P has a question for you. He wants to know, are you adjusting your ranks at all because of the worth set to miss the start of the year?
So right now, I think I moved Bucky down 1 or 2 spots, nothing major. I think he's the only one that's drastic that could potentially be massively impacted. Um, it's something I want to monitor. Like if we start to hear like this is very serious, it could be something that lasts. Then I'll start to get a little bit more worried. I'm going to be interested to read camp reports on how they feel about his replacement, if they're going to bring in anyone, etc. So it's something I'm monitoring for sure. But right now, I don't want to be overly worried about something that's still 2 months away from like factoring in. I would
We
go
wanna
Mooney.
go Moon I was just about to ask you
Yeah,
if you wanna do Mooney or Cup. I wouldn't wanna do Ayuk since we
yeah,
already have Addison. Feel like we know we can count on Mooney though right away
yeah. Perfect early receiver to count on.
and bring back to week 15 against Tampa.
There you go. Yeah.
Gotta advance out of all the playoffs to
No,
get to the finals.
no, it's very true. It's each of those weeks is important. Like, you know, I, I'm sure basically anyone who drafted at volume last year had some sort of Burrow Higgins team that's just not there in the finals. And maybe even had that
Yeah.
ninja bring back. but
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if you don't make it.
Who Haim says he's moving Bucky way down in the
No,
eliminate,
that is true. Like Eliminator, I do think
moving Rashard
takes
up.
a bigger hit. Just with Bucks could start a little slower, just in general, and particularly Bucky.
All right, let's see. We have 4 running backs. We have 4 wide receivers. What do you generally like to do here? There any quarterbacks that interest you? I'm
I don't
assuming maybe
I don't
not.
mind Joe Flacco just because I do think he's going to start a chunk of the
Okay,
year. Um,
we can click him. See if we
yeah.
like anything better. There's the running backs. You want to just do, or you want to do Ninjoku and see if we can get Flacco to come back, or you want to just take Flacco? 5 seconds. Uh-oh, we might have lost Steve. We'll just grab Flacco.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no,
Um,
that's all right.
I don't know if I'm still having issues or what.
You're good now. I hear you now. It just kind of chopped out for a minute. We went ahead and took Flacco. He probably wouldn't have came back to us in a super flex. 144 is his ADP, and that would have been 152 at our next pick. So that just adds to the QB strength. Because I agree with you. Do you think there's a world where Flacco is just a starter all year if their team is like
Yeah.
doing okay, or do you think at some point for sure they'll turn it over to one of the rookies?
No, there can there um sorry if my stream's going out. I might jump out and jump back in, see if that will help. Um,
Yeah, it was kind of choppy again for a second. Right this second, it seems a little better though.
but no, to answer your question, I think Flacco. Uh, oh, Trey Harris, or sorry, I didn't realize we were on the clock. Oh no, we
No,
are.
no, no. We're not quite on the clock.
Um,
We got 4 picks or so.
so I mean, Flacco, I think could start all year if they're competitive, but if they're not competitive, I think at some point they turn it over, and it might not be a rookie. It might be Kenny Pickett. I
Oh yeah, you think Kenny Pickett might get in there? So Trey Harris went. Do we want to grab
go
White
Rashard
since we
White.
have Baker?
Yeah,
Just really load up the Tampa stuff.
yeah, I
Was
think,
that you and that was you and Candles this morning, right?
yeah,
That did the Baker Bucky White stack,
yeah,
but didn't have any receivers.
yeah. Not my favorite.
I couldn't comment much on it because I was walking my dogs and listening to it, but I was getting a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
What you
Oh,
need, the Baker Bucky White stack.
exactly. I'm sure that's exactly what we'll need. Um,
That was good stuff. Y'all were having fun with it too.
yeah, no, it was good. It was a good stream, but definitely not my ideal team.
All right, so we're coming into the 14th here. We have our 4 quarterbacks. We're probably good other than maybe like a last round backup, you think? Or is that what you're kinda thinking?
Um,
Or
I think. Let's see. Wait, I would probably go. What's our build? 4-5-4-0.
4-5-4-0.
I'd probably hit a tight end here. I think we need tight end.
Go with
Um,
Henry or Strange or Ertz.
let's
I'm
go.
kinda in on
Let's go Henry. Maybe one of those come back to us with the next pick. If not, like we could get Kate Otten or Gasecki
yeah.
as well.
So with somebody like Henry being your first tight end in a super flex, do you typically wanna do, like, 3 tight ends?
Yeah, I think they're
Would you
probably doing three.
That's what I would normally do, especially you have the extra picks to work with. You figure one more running back at most, and we're good. We don't really need a seventh running back on that team.
Yeah.
If we had to, we could keep it at those 5 probably, honestly, but we could add a 6th.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just wanted to answer Dirty P's comments about Worths. And that is very true. Like it is maybe cautionary. Right now, I just don't want to overly adjust to something that we just don't know a lot. Like once we get like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, like especially early August, I think we'll get a real clear understanding of it, and then I'll look to adjust a bit more. Um, but no, worse would be a big time body blow for sure. But if this is the thing, they also could look to trade for somebody or kind of see where they're at. So it's
Mhm.
better than say when Daresol went down for the Vikings last year and they just had to trade for Cam Robinson. Um, but trading for somebody in the middle of the season is much different.
Yeah. So let's see here. We could go back to receiver and do
I like QJ.
Johnston
Yeah, I
since
think
we have
he's fine there, and would make
gives
sense.
us some sort of stack with Herbert at least, other
Yeah,
than the running back. I mean, we do have the running back, but receiver wise. So you thinking with a team like Evans and Godwin and then Addison, Mooney, and Johnson, you thinking maybe a 6th receiver just to help kind
I
of
think
give
we
it,
def-
some
I
volume?
think we definitely need a sixth receiver. I probably would if like Otten's there. I'd take him next to get a decent second tight end, and also stacks and all that.
Yeah.
But
He might come back. We have Baker. People don't really like
yeah,
taking Otten without Baker.
well, and then like Jason just took two tight ends, so I can't imagine he's going to take Otten. Maybe maybe he would, but um, so I think there's a decent enough chance.
Oh, the 10 hole. I don't recognize his name. I guess you know him.
Yeah, that's Jason Calhoun.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, his
My
name
bad,
on
Jason. He started popping in my streams here or there. I just didn't some of being new to Underdog, some of the people whose usernames on Underdog are totally different than their
yeah,
YouTube names. It takes me a while to learn them. We'll go ahead
yeah.
and get Auden, and we need Baker to have an MVP season. I mean,
Hey,
we got Rashard White, we got Evans, Godwin, Auden. Throw all the touchdowns, Baker.
yeah, if he throws 40 again, we're looking good.
I think it was you one time I was joking with, because it was about a month or so ago. I said, "What if," because it started as a joke, but then the more I think about it, what if it's just Baker got that good late in this year? Because you remember when Canales went to Carolina, everybody was calling him the QB whisperer.
Yeah,
You remember that? And then he
yep,
went to Carolina and didn't instantly like improve Bryce Young. After the
yeah.
benching, I guess he played better, and then what happened last year with Liam Cohen, like Baker was even better. So like
But
what if he's the OC whisperer?
well, and what's crazy is Baker had that year, and Chris Godwin missed 9 games. Mike Evans missed 3.5 games. Jalen McMillan missed 3 games. Kate Otten missed 3 or 4 games. Like that was wild. To have that number of injuries among your skill guys, and for Baker to throw for the yards that he did, throw for 40 plus touchdowns, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, for real.
But I agree with you and Huheems. I think Baker is good. I think he maybe wasn't totally playing his best self with Cleveland, but since then I think it's been a bit of a wake up call, and it's paid off.
All right, what do we want to do here? Getting down to the last few, 17th round.
Let's go Jatavian Sanders for the
for the stack
the stack and third
and the
tight
third
end.
tight end. That makes a lot of sense.
Again, maybe he would have come back to us, but this guy is zero tight end, so I'm guessing he's going to pop. Um, you know, well, I thought he was going to pop one or two, but maybe at least one.
Yeah. That's all right. We got him. Nothing with locking up our stack. So then I'm guessing it's going to come down to, do we want to take, I guess we could still do like one more quarterback and a
Mm-hmm.
six running back, six wide receiver, that type of thing.
Could you highlight quarterback real quick?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking over there at our
No problem.
numbers as far as the structure.
Yeah, I mean Cousins is there. Um, we could take him, but what can you highlight running back and receiver real quick? Sorry.
No, that's good.
Um, I mean, I like Taj and a bunch of those guys.
Well,
What's
Brooks just
receiver? Yeah,
went. We can do old
maybe.
Keenan Allen.
What about Slayton again? Just to help cover like those early weeks when Addison might be out and Godwin coming back.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's why I did it on the last team.
Yeah, I think might as well go there. The running backs that we'll get in the next go around are going to be similar, and same with like the quarterback options. Even if Cousins
Mhm.
is gone.
Wh- What do you think about Woody Marks?
Um, I took him a little bit like before the Nick Chubb thing. I've taken him once or twice
Mhm.
since. I just I just also worry about him just not being that good. Like I know he was drafted much higher than I thought he would. Um, and I don't know. I kind of want to hear like he's impressing in camp and that kind of stuff. I just don't know if the natural talent is there. Now he could just win the role. Um, so I've kind of come to the conclusion I just want to wait and hear. I want to make sure he's doing well because to me he wasn't an impressive prospect. Pretty good out of the backfield receiving, but no real rushing ability and upside. So I kind of just want to wait
Mhm.
and hear on it.
Let's see. Are we pretty close? Or I got some time to talk. I got some time to talk. So I hadn't really been taking him at all, but then I was kind of, I don't want to end up with 30% of all the late round running
Yeah.
backs that I like. So I'd kind of been looking for, some new late round run 18th, 17th round options. And so I was going back and I was looking at him again or whatever. Let's make this pick, I guess, real quick first. Who you like here at the running back room, or do you want to go with one of the quarterbacks now?
Let's go running back. I would lean Kyle Monangai or Ollie Gordon.
Let's go with Ollie Gordon. I'll
Okay.
tell you why I go with him over Munungai in a minute. We'll we'll talk about it while we wait for the quarterback to come back to us. So I actually hadn't drafted any Kyle Munungai until I saw you drafting him a few times. And so I started taking him some, and it was probably about a week or so before I went back and actually did some more work on him to, just, okay, do I really like this guy, or am I taking him just because I saw other people who I think are smart drafters taking him? And I don't know. I don't see it, man. Like, he just looks really slow to me
No,
when I
yeah, he's
watch his
not
tape.
dynamic at all.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess if Chicago ended up on the actual gold line or 2 or 3 yard line a bunch of times and it wasn't Roshan that they wanted in there, then maybe he could. So, but Ollie Gordon on the other hand, it's like, I know Wright said he lost a lot of body fat and stuff this, off season, yada yada. We hear that all the time. Um, but he wasn't that good last year. And same thing with like Gordon. What backup quarterback you want?
I would go Kenny Pickett. I think he's got the best outs to start, and we're not totally handcuffing the Browns room, but I think
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is a
All
real
right.
chance like those two quarterbacks start every game.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't think so, and I know Mark is on your side. Mark, my buddy Mark, is kind of thinks that like Kenny Pickett might get in there over the rookies, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if they just had one rookie, then okay, maybe. But it's like they kind of got to see what they got in Shador and Gabriel, I would think. But maybe
Yeah,
you guys are right.
I, I think my take on it is it's Dylan Gabriel was a late third rounder, and most people thought he wasn't deserving of that. Shador Sanders was probably a third round talent, but they took him in the late fifth round, and that felt like not to be a coach's decision. That was very much ownership
Hmm.
weighing in. So, is Stefanski going to play Shador? And honestly, like, is Dylan Gabriel? Early reports out of Browns camp, and granted these are extremely early, but is that Kenny Pickett is ahead of these guys by a country mile.
Okay.
And let's be honest, like we don't see a lot of third rounders, fourth or fifth, sixth rounders outside of like clear injury situations, like the Brock Purdy situation, play as rookies. I don't care how bad it is in front of them. You know, we generally only see that with injury situations. Sometimes, you know, like this is not the same as like Jackson Dart. Like Jackson Dart, he was a first rounder. It makes sense when the Giants want to take a look at him late. You you know go with your first round pick, and we've seen it
Yeah.
sometimes. Second rounders a couple of years ago, Jalen Hurts notably got the last three starts, but we rarely see it with these late round guys. A couple of years ago, when nobody outside of Kenny Pickett went in the first round, we saw some rookies like Desmond Ritter and stuff get some starts, but it's just so rare. And I don't know. I think if you were like looking at it from an odds perspective, I think
Hmm.
Kenny Pickett has the best odds to start football games outside of Joe Flacco. So that to me, and the fact that he goes later than Shador and even Dylan Gabriel is wild to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, hearing you say it like that, that does make sense. I don't know. I guess in my head it's like, well, do they really want to go through a whole year with not, getting to see any of the rookies, especially if it was like a bad situation? Like I agree Flacco's going to start the year.
Yeah,
I totally think that will be the case because probably neither one of the rookies are ready to start. Let's run through the team real quick
yeah.
and then we'll go from there. 5-6-6-3 is what we ended up with. We have Baker, Herbert, Young, Flacco, and Pickett. So I kind of like it. If you're right, and if Flacco struggles, maybe he struggles early and they're not ready to go to the rookie, so they turn it over to Pickett. And then we have, of course, Baker, Herbert, Young up top. So I think we'll be good enough. We had Barkley, Hampton, Connor, Pacheco, White, and Ollie Gordon in the running back room. Sorry a minute ago, too, when I was distracted. One of my daughters came in the room for a
Yeah.
minute and
No.
needed something. But my thing with Ollie Gordon, why I said him over Manungai is one, when I went back and did more work on Manungai, I didn't really like him. But then what if, like, I don't know, you would probably know better than me because I don't really follow much college football. I try to catch my Longhorns when I can, and other than that, I just, as soon as the Super Bowl's over, start cramming as much rookie tape as I can get in. But I know 2 years ago, Ollie Gordon was really good, right? He
Right.
was looked at coming into last year as like one of the top backs, and then he had that disappointing year last year. And so, like, what if he just is what I guess first let me start with what is your opinion on why it went from like so good 2 years ago in college to not so good last year?
Um, I think the offensive team as a whole got worse, including some offensive line issues. But I think some of it is Ollie Gordon, whether he was, maybe already had one foot out the door. Uh, there were some. I know there were some questions on like his work ethic, whatever. Um, and I think there were some poor coaching decisions with how they utilized him. Uh, but I think I think Gordon can be fine, and I think there's some limits to his overall game. But I like him in the late rounds. And my thing is, a chain and Jalen Wright are very similar style players. Ollie can be the hammer, the short yardage guy. Maybe he just ends up with
Mhm.
like 6, 7 touchdowns this year just for that reason. And any week that he gets a touchdown, he's probably having a 10+ point week, making him a usable back.
Mhm. Okay,
So
well, that's nice to know about, the college thing, and that's kinda my thing is I was just telling someone the other day, I wanna start going back to, like, the Woody Marks thing that I've been looking for, some new 20th round running backs because I kept clicking the same ones all the time, or 18th round in the normal draft or whatever, and it's like, what if, right? What if he
yeah.
just it was exactly like you're saying, more of a team level thing than Ollie
Mhm.
Gordon just all of a sudden is bad. Could he work into the Dolphins and just kinda get he's not gonna totally take all the goal line work because they showed last year that they're willing to give Achane some of that work too, but what if it's him
Yeah.
as a RB2 instead of Wright, who also wasn't good last year in the NFL on that team? So that's kinda why I went with him over, Monangai, and then just to finish off the Woody Marks thing, it was like, you probably know this, but I didn't really realize it till I went back and started doing some more work on him. He had, like, 250 receptions-ish
Yeah.
throughout his whole college career, and so, like, I don't know, I think he could be the new we have that dude, Dare Ogunbowale, who
Yeah.
there's never really been anything to be exciting about other than he kicked the field goal for us one time when the kicker was hurt.
That's right.
But other than that, like, he's not really it, and so I think in a Mixon gets hurt from time to time. He missed a handful of games last year, and I think that if Mixon was to get hurt, like, they would definitely at least give Woody a chance to see what he can do as a rusher and not just a pass catcher, so I guess that's
Yeah.
kinda got me a little interested in him.
Yeah, no, he definitely has a skill set of being a good back out of the backfield, receiving back. Um, and that's why I said I want to watch how he's deployed in camp, what the positive reports are. Can he beat out Ugaba, you know, Dari Ugabawale? Sorry, I cannot pronounce that.
Agumbawale.
Yeah.
I'm only 'cause I'm a Texan fan. If
Yeah.
I wasn't a Texan fan, I wouldn't know how to say it
Um,
either.
but he does have to beat him out. And I think he could, but I worry he's just not a good runner. Like we talk about like all these backs with like good contact balance or good vision, um,
Mhm,
stuff like that. The obviously Genties, Scadaboo, Hampton, etc. And he
mhm.
just does not have that. Like he goes down on first contact, doesn't break any tackles. It feels like he just doesn't see like the hole and get the most out of his run. So that's something that NFL coaches will find very frustrating.
Yeah,
But
that's true. I did
maybe
see
they can
that
coach
in
some
his
of that
tape.
out of him also.
I did see some of that in his tape, and like I said, it's not a guy that, like, flag planting or anything, but more so just some new little 20th round guys to take.
Yeah.
I mostly like doing it on a CJ team because of his
Yeah, and
pass catching
yeah,
abilities.
when it makes sense, there's like a bring back on Chargers team or something like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
so like I said, I've clicked them
it
a couple times, but not a big click.
it's up to you, since you came in late, if you need to go, I understand, but Imma probably do one more draft. If you
No,
wanna do one more, you're
I'm good
welcome
doing
to
one
hang
more. Yeah.
around. Let me find where are these new super flexes at? There they are. Let me just throw your name on it, and then I'll go back and add the rest to it later. And then we can what do you wanna do? You wanna do another super flex, eliminator? I'm up for
Um,
whatever.
yeah, let's do another super flex if you're game for that. I
Yeah, yeah. I already got my percents loaded for that. 11:42 chat. If you wanna hop in it at 11:42 on the dot, we'll hop in it while we wait for it to start. I'll go try to catch up on some of the chat. And it should be right now. 2 spots, so if you get in there quick, you can hop in it. Let's see what we missed. Jason said that that was him. I wrote you, and I'll go back and write your username down, Jason. I appreciate you stopping in. You've been stopping in a couple nights now. I'll try to remember you, buddy. Baker won a game after he was signed
That
the
was
night
crazy.
before with the Ram. Yeah, that was kind of the start of the new Baker. That's what got him the, Tampa job.
Hmm.
Baker is actually good. What's up, Disbanded? Good to see you in here. Uhaim says he's out on Kyle as well.
Yeah.
He's the Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla of running backs in 2025. They only won like 3 games, like 8 or 9 the year before that. Jamming Ollie in for Bucks bring back is nice. What pick did we get? Let's go
Got
look.
11.
Mark hopped back in this one. He is in the 2 hole. We're in the 11 hole. I don't recognize anybody else, but if you're in here, let us know. We'll shout you out. Mark went with my boy Lamar Jackson. It'll be fun here in a couple weeks, Steve. So my wife and the girls are going out of town on like a little girls week-long trip, and the weekend of the 26th, Mark is actually flying into my house, and I'm gonna
Nice.
drag him on stream a couple nights with me, I think.
Very nice.
Y'all will get to meet Mark. He's a good friend. We've been friends for, God, I don't know, 20 something years now.
I like Huhim's last comment.
Steve held me hostage. Don't let him leave early.
Oh
We'll
my.
keep him around a little bit. I've been in and out on the stream all night. Crazy night here at work. It's all good, buddy. I know you are when you can. He's been my day one. It's been funny, because I guess me streaming has also kind of turned him in a way onto best ball even more. I'll talk about it in a minute here. Are we going to go? We going
Gibbs.
Gibbs?
Gibbs, yeah.
That's what I would want to do. And we'll just wait a second since we're right here at that turn. Now, I would be tempted to go CMC Gibbs if this was just me and he's there, assuming this guy doesn't take him.
Ooh.
Or
I
do you
mean,
really want to grab a quarterback?
we can try it. I just think we then have to catch up, but we can try it. I don't think it's
Let's
terrible.
try it my way and see how it turns out. Now, this is what I do when I go running back like that. No matter what, those next 2
Hmm.
picks are quarterback, and then assuming somebody we like is there in round 6, I'm definitely taking him too. And then a
Yeah,
lot of times you can still end up with like um let's say like a Love, a Lawrence, and then like Stafford or Geno sometimes will
yeah.
come back there. Stafford normally doesn't come all the way back to 11, but like Tua or Geno will come back there. Or then you could try to do like the Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, if for whatever reason you didn't get them.
Just curious, Huhim brings up a new comment about the DK promo. Is that just a $3 ticket? Because historically, DK has released multiple $3 tournaments. Because yeah, I've maxed it as well. So I haven't gotten a chance to look at the promo, obviously. I'm just curious if you could comment if he gets a chance.
I don't know. It's weird for somebody who used to always play on DK. Like, I've done a couple slows just using up a bunch of crowns I've cashed in. But other than that, I've only been over here because I always tell people my thing is just time. Like, I
Hmm.
really very, very rarely do I get time during the day to draft. And so at night's the only time I can draft, and there's so much fun stuff to do over here on Underdog that I just have no interest in going back. Opt in and enter the NFL 15 milli maker. Earn two $3 tickets to the Fit Play Action tournament.
I'm
Okay.
guessing that'll be applicable to other $3 tournaments that DK offers. Would be my guess.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good deal. Like you get $6 in tickets for a $20 entry.
They got to do something to try to keep up. And
Yeah,
then Underdog this year basically did the same thing. I mean, they're not giving you away promo money, but they're dropping all these new contests every day of the week.
yeah,
The one lady, Hope Bishop, I hear some people talking about her
hmm
tweets with the check marks or whatever, basically saying, "Hey, there's 5 things coming this week."
yeah, yeah. No, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't think this is part of the I like last week because they've done some of these promos. Most people haven't enjoyed them. They were the marathon or the sprint or the one where you had to do
Hmm.
for the Elim marathon sprint weekly winners. So I wouldn't. They didn't do anything last week. I wouldn't be surprised if they do one, particularly with DK doing all this stuff this week. So we'll see. They haven't done anything tied to regular contests yet. I think that would be nice, even if it's not the same percentage wise.
Hmm.
Because like those other ones, and I know not everyone's into like those tournaments, but you're essentially getting like 20 between 21 and 24% of your money back is
Hmm.
what it kind of worked out to. So I don't think they'd do that for regular, but even if you got like 10% back, that'd be, like enter $100 over the weekend worth of tournaments and get $10 back. I think a lot of people would just like that.
Yeah, for sure. I did the sprint one, the one that was just the 7 sprints or
Yeah.
whatever. Now, I did not do the other one where you had to do like marathons and weekly
Yeah.
winners and all of those together. And I didn't do the first one that was just marathons. I
Mhm.
mean, we're gonna take the gift, right? They're gonna
This
give
is
us Drake May
amazing. I
all
mean,
the way. I
I
kept
know,
looking at it and was like,
I
"There's
know,
no way.
I know.
There's no way."
I didn't want to say anything. I don't think outside of Mark, I don't think anyone's in here, but I just didn't want to say anything to jinx it.
Yeah, no, I was the same way. I kept watching it each pick and like, really? You took Herbert
I
over
know,
him and
I
Love
know
over
who Hames
him?
has to be like, what the hell?
And then here I would either McCarthy or Lawrence, whichever one you like the best.
Let's go McCarthy. Also for the reason that Lawrence does have that week 8 bye, and so like a Geno pairs the same.
True,
So
true,
and
true.
Geno
Yes,
and Stafford both have that. So
that is true. Good thinking ahead. That's what got me in trouble on that.
yeah,
Well, not
this
really in trouble because I liked how the team worked out since I was able to get Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson, kind of count both of them as my third
oh
quarterback, whichever
that worked
one
out
does
really well.
better. But yeah, I mean, Drake May is never there. As
Never.
somebody who
Ever.
always goes position and just hoping he gets 3 guys he likes,
Oh my god.
that is
Like
a rarity.
that's such a value. Like even if we had gone quarterback, I would have said you got to take Drake May. It's the
Oh,
best.
yeah, yeah, for
It's
sure.
the craziest
But now
value
we have Gibbs and CMC with Drake May and still got McCarthy as our 2,
That's wild. Yeah,
who Hames says he had so much May at the end of his first few.
yeah. That's I will
It's
take
like
it.
opening day of the first super flex.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, we you just don't get that fall anymore. I
Mm-mm.
mean, a lot of times we wouldn't even have the option for McCarthy back to us, and we get him on the bring back.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Because a lot of times he sometimes is there, like right there in that
Yeah, it's
third
like
round.
50-50 probably. Um, like, but sometimes you have to start with like when you do that, like Stroud and Penix, as your two quarterbacks. So
Hmm.
and I like McCarthy above Stroud. So um,
You like McCarthy above Stroud?
just just one for one. I think McCarthy has more rushing upside, and I think the Vikings are going to have just an elite offensive line. They both have great weapons: JJ, Addison, and Hawk versus Nico and the Texans guys. Um,
Hmm.
but just I think the rushing is from and this is from a fantasy perspective. I think Stroud is a very good NFL quarterback, but without him having a big rushing upside, even if McCarthy only has like 300 yards rushing, that's 30 points and probably a couple touchdowns.
Mhm. I'll be interested to see if they do it more like Mahomes and it's only when we really, really need to. But at the end of the year last year, CJ started running a little bit
Yeah,
more than what, he typically always has. And because he can move a little bit when he does it, he just generally doesn't do
yeah.
it.
No, I mean I agree, but yeah, he just doesn't add much. I think he's gotten like what 160 rushing yards is his max so far.
Something like that. And we just part of it for me, I guess why I kind of just think of him this I guess in the same tier or whatever is because like I feel like, well, there goes Smith. We couldn't get lucky 3 times. Do we wanna
I would
grab
take
Old Man
Rodgers.
Rodgers
Yeah, I'd
and
take
just
him.
know that we have a 3rd starter? I'm okay with that. Drake May, McCarthy, and Aaron Rodgers. We can make that work with our 2 stud running backs and go from there. You
T
like Cook
Higgins.
here or you wanna go T.
I
Higgins?
think T Higgins. We're getting a receiver who goes at the 2-3 turn, sometimes even a little higher in the second round,
Yeah.
and we're getting him in sixth round.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that. But, I
And
guess
just
it could.
just to the sorry to interrupt, but just to the point where people were like, "Oh," and we didn't start quarterback, um, but this is why you take running back first because you know we got Gibbs and CMC, three quarterbacks, and T Higgins. Like you just don't get that in a BBM. Like ignoring your quarterback, like this would be waiting for quarterback in a BBM. There's no way you're getting those three players, Gibbs, CMC, and T Higgins in a BBM.
Yeah, 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 for sure. True, you can't get Gibbs and
Yeah,
CMC
yeah,
anymore, much less T. Higgins with them.
yep.
They're both first round guys now, every draft.
Yep. So yeah, I like this start a lot.
Mhm. And no, I like McCarthy, and it's just like I don't know. There is that little bit of, well, he's essentially kind of a rookie and
That's
he
true.
didn't really throw the ball a ton in college. So, like, we really don't know. But then at the same time, O'Connell made Dobbs look good for a small
Yeah.
stretch of games. So, he,
Yeah. Nick Mullins, I think, had three starts with 3 or 4 starts, and he never finished lower than quarterback 14. You know, just
so does
yeah.
he have a little bit of rushing to his game then? Because I
McCarthy,
didn't think of,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
didn't think of him I mean, I
Yeah.
know he's not like a elite rusher, but I guess who would you comp him to as far as like rushing?
Um, I think like he doesn't have the size of Herbert, but kind of like Herbert, kind of like
Okay.
Baker. Baker can run for 300 yards.
Mhm.
So a little bit like that.
Interesting. Okay. I guess I just thought of him as more of at Michigan from what I remember watching tape on him last year, it was like I didn't really see him doing that a whole lot, but then again, it was Michigan and they could just hand the ball
Yeah,
off and play defense for the most
yeah,
part. So
yeah. They were ahead in a lot of games. Didn't need them.
that's nice to know though. So we have our 3 quarterbacks, probably good for a little bit there, 2 running backs, 1 receiver. I guess let's see what's coming to us. Couple guys that make a lot of sense at
Yeah,
the top of the board to me. We'll see if any of them hold. We going Travion here
I think
or
so.
JMO, either one of them, but
Yeah, I
Travion
mean,
makes
Gainwell
more
would be fine,
sense.
but I think Travion, it's a team stack. It's a third running back is I think more valuable than a receiver. So
I agree. And who knows, we may get JMO back still, or if you like someone else better. I think you're really in on Hunter, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
I take Hunter more in the Superflex than um you want to go Hunter here for a second then, or Ridley, or
Let's do Hunter because again, Superflex. The nice thing is like some of these receivers with some question marks, whether it's Addison, whether it's Godwin coming back from the injury, whether it's Hunter. You know, we don't need to worry as much because we get their highs and we don't need to worry about their lows. Like maybe Hunter is a bit more inconsistent, but probably when he hits, he's going to hit big, just because he's such an explosive athlete and just creates these incredible spike weeks is what I think you could get at.
yeah, no, for sure. And I part of why I have like 10% of him in Superflex, but I'm generally out on him in the other format is because of how I end up. You see tonight, I am not Steve. I do not get blessed with all the 101s. I'm generally like 8 through 12 in the Superflex, it seems like. And just the way I build, I ended
Yeah,
up with a lot of Lawrence. And so then it does kind of make sense to put Hunter
no,
on
for
there
sure.
on the Superflex team.
Yeah.
Seeing a needy team land a massive faller at a position of need is infuriating, unless it's me. Or unless it's us, Dirty P. Come on now.
Um, no, and this draft
Not
definitely
you, boss
broke
man.
our way in a number of ways because yeah, you don't always get CMC back, you don't always get May coming back as your quarterback, but even still, like that's what I like about Superflex is even if the CMC had been A Chain or Henry,
Yeah,
um, like we're talking about two top end running backs to start. T. Higgins, a top end receiver, and then following that up with these young rookie upside plays like Henderson and Travis Hunter.
nice
Again,
team.
you would absolutely kill for that in any BBM.
Oh, of course. But like you said, it is also isn't possible.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely impossible. And not only that, like the receivers, just because of the different positions, have less value in this, and but we're still going to get guys that we know that can. I'm sure there's a couple teams out here that have a couple better receivers to start than we do, but Higgins Hunter could be a pretty good combo.
Hmm. Oh yeah, no, I mean, and we're gonna have more too, and it's definitely it's definitely a good top two receivers when you
Mhm.
consider that we have Gibbs and McCaffrey, and we took the three quarterbacks. I know generally we might not. Oh, never mind. Addison just went. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what do you like here? You like running
Let's
back here?
let's do Mason to start, and then we can figure it out.
See what comes around.
Yeah, I feel like and that's what's nice about being an 11 spot is there's I'd be fine with basically any of those receivers. Um, can you sort back by receiver? I would pull up Diggs
That
just
makes
for
a
the
lot of
stack.
sense. That makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah,
it's really not even pulling him up. I mean, it's
no,
only like
it's three
4 picks
spots. Yeah,
off of ADP or whatever.
yeah. So,
Stacks with May. Now we have Henderson and Diggs with May.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
like it.
no, it's turning out really well.
Feels like you can build almost perfect teams in Superflex more often than not. We did it for you, Dirty P. We did it for you. I know you said the Ballsy crew was hating on your Diggs pick.
Oh man, I haven't watched that episode yet, but I'm extremely bullish on Diggs. I don't see any reason to fade him.
I'm not fading him. I can't get super bullish on him just because I am always a little leery with guys coming off, major injuries like that. I know nowadays, like everything generally is fine, but they generally sometimes start a little slow. And then there's the fact that, historically, wide receivers going to a new team also tend to sometimes, start off a little slow. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I probably have like 10% of him in regular
Ten
things,
percent is a
but
good number. Yeah.
if
Um,
he was healthy, if he didn't have the injury, I probably would have more like 15 to 20% if he
can I
still went at that ADP.
can I give you the bullish case for him?
Sure.
So I did an article about this on our Substack, talking about some veteran receivers who are drafted in the top 100 but are still probably going too low. And I made the case for Adams, Evans, and Diggs. And Diggs at the time, and he's probably right around the same area, is going as wide receiver 45. He's in the last 5 years, he's never finished worse than wide receiver 15. Um, and even last year, when he got injured, through 7 weeks, mind you, and actually 6.5, because as you know, as a Texans fan, that was like around halftime when he got injured. Um, so through 6.5 weeks, he was wide receiver 12 on the season through the first 6.5 weeks of the season, or 7 weeks technically, but he only played six and a half of
Mhm,
those games. And
mhm.
so he was at wide receiver 12, and that was with Nico playing about half those games. So I just think, you know, I know he's coming off an injury, but I feel like we're docking him too much for that. Like I could, if somebody was like, oh, like sure, he should not be going in his top 15 wide receivers, but if he was going as wide receiver 25 to 30, I could say, okay, that's fine. Like the injury risk is baked in, all that. But at 45, as wide receiver 45, I feel like you're just stealing at this point.
No, I agree, and we'll make these two picks, and then I'll talk about it some too. Let's see, what do
What's
we have?
tight?
Three
What's
wide
tight end looking
receivers.
at?
We got Warren there if you like him.
Um, yeah, let's do Warren. I like that.
I'm just gonna
So
let the clock run on him so we can kind of look through the rest too. Give us a few extra seconds. Wide receivers, we have three. I don't know if you love any of those running backs.
yeah, I think we're okay at running back. Go back
Maybe
to wide
another
receiver.
receiver here then.
Yeah, I mean we could double up on Colts here, or I think Shahid's fine.
I was about to say I like Shaheed or Pittman. Take
Let's
your
go
pick.
Shahid then.
Nice spike week guy. One of
Yeah,
my favorite spike week receivers. Four running backs: Gibbs, McCaffrey, Henderson, and Mason. Now we're up to four receivers: Higgins, Hunter, Diggs, Shaheed, Warren at tight end. It's looking good, looking good. Yeah, no, the dig stuff, and as somebody who watched, all the plays of the Texans, it sucked for one for us, but it really, because as good as he was, like you said, wide receiver 12 or whatever,
hmm,
honestly, up until about game 5 or so, it really seemed like right before he got hurt, just watching the games, you could kinda see him and CJ starting to get, like, more in a
yeah,
good rhythm with each other and stuff. So he was doing that those first 3 or 4 games. Some of the missed throws, especially, you
hmm,
could kinda tell watching the game that, okay, like, they're still trying to, work out timing and,
yeah,
little subtle signals and stuff like that with each other. And so, yeah, no, Imma up my target percent to 15. We need
nice.
more gigs. I like your bull case. Like I said, it's really just the ACL, but then there's no one else there, right? All the receivers for the most part
Yeah.
last year weren't any good with Drake May, and they drafted the rookie or whatever, but
Well,
like you
and I
said,
think
Diggs
that
has
should
always
also,
historically been good.
yeah, and I think that should also balance out some of the like injury risk or going to a new team risk. Is it's like there's just nobody else. Like he doesn't have to do much, and I mean we see
Mhm.
this all the time. Even an average receiver who just gets volume can be a fantasy asset.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We're up in the percent target. We've been kinda staying around 10 or 11. We're gonna try to get to 15 on Diggs.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Dirty P and I know Who Heems is pretty uh, good on him as well. We're gonna definitely
Okay.
be cashing in on some digs if he hits as we expect.
I've seen him cutting like he is. If you listen to the Twitter doctors, you can see him favoring his right knee whenever he cuts.
Yeah.
I just got a kick out of that the other day. I don't pay any attention to it, but I know y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yep. Yeah.
They were trying to say it about y'all's boy Rice also.
Yeah.
Which Rice, it's not an injury thing why I'm not out in on him. I just there's other people I'd rather draft in the second round, and I don't trust Kansas City to really start throwing the ball enough to feed all those guys. So I don't know. I'm probably wrong about that one too, but I take Rice sometimes when he's still hanging around that early third, but I have a hard time taking him in the second.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a big share of Rice. I mean, I want some just because it's Kansas City and all that, but I do worry
Mm.
we're very much taking him at kind of his ceiling.
Let's see, where are we at? 150s. We could go running back for a fifth, wide receiver. We
Let's
could throw
go
the rookie on there.
receiver. I'm fine doing Kyle Williams, double stacking this. Um, I think
And
it's
then on the way
fine
back,
hitting a tight end. I don't think we need triple stack, but we could take like a
no,
Ferguson or
Ferguson. I was about to say, I like
yeah.
Ferguson a lot.
I mean, we probably should have done that first because this guy didn't have either tight end. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's just go Ferg.
He took old Kyle Pitts
Yeah, I'll take that.
and Jaden Blue. What do you
That's
think about
big with
Jaden Blue?
I'm
I'm in on Jaden Blue at least until Dallas does something else
yeah.
at running
So
back.
I know you and Candyman are high on Jaden Blue. I am not. I my concern
Okay.
with him is for the last 2 years, Texas had a running back injury, and it really didn't like expand his role. It's not like he took over and anything. And what I will give him credit, kind of similar to Woody Marks, like he catches the ball really well. But I just don't see a guy with a lot of good vision. I don't think he breaks a lot of tackles. He's fast, but in the NFL, like speed can get overrated because you'd be surprised how often you get run down in the NFL. So I just have a hard time believing in this kind of format. Like, I don't think he's going to have any sort of role anywhere near the red zone. Like inside the 10, he might, you know, get zero carries. Like, I mean, that's an extreme, but it's going to be small, I feel like. And so I just don't know how he's going to score me fantasy points unless he could take on a much bigger role than I expect. I don't like Dallas's other backs, but I do think, one, they both have plenty of starting potential. So just from them knowing how to run an NFL system, et cetera, like that, they could just help keep him off the field. But I do think Dallas is a team that's ripe for, like, if we heard Tank Bigsby got traded to them, give me Tank Bigsby to the moon. If we heard Antonio Gibson gets cut and they sign Antonio Gibson, give me Antonio Gibson. Like, they are a team extremely, susceptible for a running back to come in. And could it be Blue just on, he has a great camp and shows me more than I expected? Absolutely. But I'm glad he's falling to like the late 140s, early 150s. This is in regular. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm taking him a little there. But when he was going to like the 120s, 130s, I just think it was like way
I
overpriced.
agree with that. Now, I will say, like, I've been drafting him kinda heavy lately, but I've only been drafting him kind of heavy since he moved back to that range, and
Yeah.
the reason why I went heavy on him is because if nobody else comes or if nobody else comes soon, I feel like once we start seeing some long runs of him in camp because of the speed, people are going to overreact and he probably going to get pushed back up a little bit, at which time then I'll just be done drafting him.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Let's
I
see,
agree
we're
with
on the
that.
clock here. You want to go with one of the running backs here?
Let's go. Yeah. Will Shipley, I think, makes sense.
We'll click him and just kind of keep looking. Since we are on that back end. We have 5 receivers though. I mean, you know who I like in this range, if I can talk you into him.
I mean, if you want to take I have very little Milrow even in Superflex.
Even in
I'm
Superflex?
well, one, I think he
We'll
goes.
hold on. Well, here, do you like a running back on the board
I mean,
better?
I like Sanders and Hunter, but we can go Milrow. I mean, let's go Milrow. This team could use some more.
I was trying to get him in for you. I couldn't be quick enough. Sorry about that. He's gonna be
No,
our late season magic, Steve. He's
no.
gonna help guide the ship. We got the awesome value on Drake May, McCarthy, and Old Man Rogers. Late in the year, Rogers' arm might be tired.
Oh,
You know.
and by the way, when I said Sanders, I meant Miles Sanders, not Shador. I'm not taking any
Oh,
Shador
okay,
Sanders.
okay.
So I would rather have
I we were
Milrow
looking
than
at
Shador.
we were looking at quarterbacks, so I
Yeah.
thought maybe you wanted Shador
So
Sanders,
I'm
which
glad
didn't
that worked
really
out.
make sense. Didn't really make sense since you wanted Pickett in the
Yeah.
last one and were saying that you didn't think that he might even get on the field. Now that I think about it, I should have put two and two together. I
No,
guess
it's
I
all good.
haven't really been drafting much Miles Sanders at all because I've kind of been on my little blue kick. So I guess his name just wasn't really at the top of mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um,
No. So I
but
mean,
that's my thing with. Oh, go ahead.
the thing with Milrow is I just worry, like even if you know your stand is right and Darnold isn't good, I just think they could go to Drew Lock. The Seahawks were a 10-win team last year, and if they're probably their coaches are low key going to be coaching for their jobs. Like if they go out and win 3 games, they're done. They're going to get fired. So if Darnold is struggling, I think they turn to Drew Lock, not Milrow, um, to win them football games.
You think Drew Lock gives him a better chance to win football games than Milrow?
I think as a rookie, yeah. Like don't get me wrong, I think Milrow has a lot of long-term potential and upside, but he's a very raw in processing. He's very raw. Like he's an incredible athlete. He's got a big arm, but it's a very inconsistent arm. It's like one throw, you'll look at it and you're like, that is a rocket that is, just threads the needle, absolute perfect throw. And then the next throw is 5 feet off. And you're
No,
like,
I agree, but I mean, it's Drew Lock.
no, I mean that's fair as well. But again, Drew Lock's just been around the block. Like,
No, I hear you. I guess my thing is I the reason I think Milrow would be a better play for them over Locke is because you could go to something very, very simple, right? The old Washington RG3 stuff where you just kind of rely on your defense. You got this explosive running back in Walker, do a lot of, zone read stuff where it's either Walker, up the middle or Milrow to the outside or whatever. And then even pulling it and hitting, the slant to cup or JSN or whatever, one read throw kind of stuff. If it's not there, take off.
yeah, I mean that works
Let's see
some.
what we want to do here, though. We are on the clock again.
Do you want to
Uh,
do a third tight end and do Fryermuth?
I'm good with that, especially with Old Man Rogers.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I think that makes sense, and I think we took
Warren
Warren
Ferguson
and
and
Ferguson, but it's not like we took like a Kittle or somebody like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Warren might have his weeks where he's real quiet too.
Yeah. So and
And then we are
the thing with
back on the
Fryermuth
clock.
is I think he can still be fine. Let's go, Rashard Smith.
That's who I was going to
Yeah,
suggest.
he's one of my favorites in this range.
Are you worried at all about Pacheco's injury being the type of injury that it was and how guys historically come back kind of slow from it? Because that's what stopped me from being in on Pacheco this year.
So, I mean, early on, definitely pre-draft, I had like no Pacheco because I thought the Chiefs were going to add somebody. And then post-draft, I took them a little bit, but I did kind of want to hear some of these reports that we got out of like the mini camps and stuff like that. And sounds like he's, they're confident enough in him. Now, that being said, I still have a little worry because, it is a tough injury and we'll have to see. And, I don't think he was just massively secured in his role to begin with. It could just end up being a committee approach. Um, but I'm taking him now.
What's up, fantasy dog? I will say if you think those 2 don't sleep, put me in the same box because I typically see them when I wake up in Chad Candle streams in his chat, which I also sometimes catch the end of, and I'm clearly here every night with you guys. I've
Yeah.
always been one that don't need a ton of sleep though.
Yeah, me neither. Typically, I get like 5 to 6 hours.
Good to see you in here, dog. Let's see,
Yeah.
how are we gonna finish this one off?
And
2 more picks left.
I agree. And Fancy Dog mentioned it also. But what Dirty P said, that's my take on it is I think Sam Darnold actually fits the Seattle offensive system pretty well. And I think it won't be as good as it was last year just because the Vikings was a better situation. But I think he could be an above average quarterback. So that's why I
You could
don't
be
think
right, and I could
Mitchell.
very well be wrong. I just when I look at for me, it's part of their schedule too. Like, like let's look because their bye week's week 8. If they had an easier first 7 games, I think I would feel a little
Yeah.
better about it. But their first 7 games are freaking tough. I think when I was looking at it before, there's like the Saints game is the only game that I look at and I'm like, okay, they can probably win that one for sure. What do we want to do here? Are we going to go 6 receivers?
Yeah, let's add a receiver. Sorry. I like MVS. It's a stack spike week guy. We have some certainty at receiver already. He might only hit our lineup twice, but
Mhm.
those weeks that he does, it's like a 20-point game.
So then do you want a 5th quarterback here, you think? Or running backs were probably good, huh?
Yeah, let's go just another quarterback. I don't mind doing Howe and just kind of locking up that team. Um, handcuffing that team I think is good because McCarthy is coming off an injury. If anything were to reoccur, Howe I think is going to be the quarterback, and you know
Hal
it's
had
what.
those couple fun years in not Minnesota, in
Yeah,
Washington, where he
yeah.
was running around some and stuff. So yeah, I like that. But anyways, getting back to the Darnold stuff, with me, it's more so like they have a tough first 7 games, and then it kind of like ends with the Texans week 7. It's a prime time game. I think we're gonna have a top 3 defense in the league this year. I mean, we just have so much talent at every level of our defense this year. Um, I don't know. And so I could just see a scenario where, okay, if they go into the bye week, let's say they win one more game than the New Orleans game, and they go into their bye week 2-5. Like you said, the coaches are going to be kind of coaching for their life essentially, and you're gonna have the media, you're gonna have fans and everything, hey, well, what can Milrow do? What can Milrow do? Because he is a rookie and if nothing else, his legs is exciting or whatever. And so that's just my thing. I don't take him that often in like regular drafts. There's a certain type of team that I'll still put him
Yeah.
on in regular drafts. More so it's super flex. And honestly, it's because I end up with so many of these back end draft
Mhm.
spots. And so I'm doing like a Drake May, or well, no, I'm not doing Drake May because he's never there. I'm doing like a Jordan Love and a McCarthy and Geno type team. And so then I'm like, well, how can I take this team where I got 2 really good running backs and okay enough 3 quarterbacks and some decent wide receivers, how
Yeah.
can I really give it that late season punch? And so I throw Milrow on a lot of those teams, because even if I'm wrong about the like week 8 thing, and him taking over after the bye week, like there's still the scenario where, like, okay, let's say they do go to Drew Lock. Well, I don't really think much of Drew Lock. So then if they're still losing at the end of the year, then they could very well throw him in there for weeks 14, 15, 16, whatever, just to see what the kid can do because their season's totally over with. So that's
Yeah.
why I end up with so much of him in Superflex.
Yeah. I mean, my issue in Superflex is I think he's drafted a couple rounds too early, particularly with Locke there as well, because he to me is not the clear number two. Like there's a lot of clear number twos, like a Sam Howell, I famously take Tyrod Taylor, both to handcuff and sometimes just in general in the 19th or 20th round. What's the difference with Justin Fields? Like Justin Fields has never played a full year. And he's been bad in his NFL career. So, isn't there a risk that they would bench him? I know the contracts are slightly different. There's a little bit more guaranteed money in Fields year two than Darnold, but it's not like Darnold has zero guaranteed money. Like, yes, a lot of it's injury guaranteed, but if they cut him, Seahawks are paying a price to cut him next year. It's not like
Yeah.
they just cut him scot free. And so it's like, why does Tyrod Taylor go in the 19th, 20th round? And he's got plenty of experience, and he is the clear backup. And
Mhm.
Milrow goes, in the 15th round or whatever it is.
No, that's very fair, and I guess my thing to that or reply to that would just be that, like, me personally, I have a lot more confidence in the Jets being competitive enough that, like, Fields' job is just totally safe versus what lack of confidence, I guess I would say, that I have in that being the case in Seattle. I don't think Seattle's going to be that good this year myself. They play in a pretty tough division, and I don't see them being better than any of the other teams in that division myself, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, I think the thing for me is the fact that they won 10 games last year. And you can say, okay, week 18, the Rams weren't playing their starters. So, but even still, they won 9 games last year. And that was a year they dealt with a ton of injuries along their offensive line, injuries on defense, injuries, um, you know, at some of their skill guys. Kenneth Walker missed a lot of games. Um,
Mhm.
so I agree. Like if I look at the league, I think Seattle, they're between a 7 and a 10 win team. I just don't see them being this team that only wins like 3 games and just totally collapses. So that to me is the path for Milrow. But I could be wrong, and maybe, and my opinion could change if we hear like Milrow takes over the number two role. If that
Okay.
becomes clear, then my calculus changes a bit.
And that's the beauty of this, that's what I tell people all the time, and that's what's so fun about it is, we get to debate it all summer, and the only thing we know is we are all going to be right about some stuff in our player takes, but we are also going to be
Yeah.
wrong about some
Yeah.
stuff, and that's what
No,
makes it fun.
absolutely.
Let's go I'll go over our team real quick. 5663. We of course got the discount on Drake May and then took McCarthy, Rogers, Milrow, and we did Howell just to kind of handcuff McCarthy. I like that idea. We got Gibbs and McCaffrey is how we started the draft. Travion behind him with Mason, Shipley, and Brashard Smith. Pretty good running back room. I like this team a lot overall. I mean, strong running backs, strong quarterbacks, considering we didn't take our first one until the third round. Higgins, Hunter, Diggs, Spike Week guy, and Shaheed, Kyle Williams on with Drake May, MVS. Hey, like you said, Milrow's one good thing is his strong arm.
Yeah.
Maybe he can hit a couple deep shots,
And
if
and so
nothing else,
is
off play
and
action.
the one thing you got to give Darnold is his arm strength as well. So it's like either
Yes,
way,
yes, he has a good deep ball too.
yeah.
Uh, Tight end room, a Warren, Ferguson, and Fryermuth. I like the team a lot, Steve.
Yeah, I
I
think
like
it's
it a
very
lot.
balanced. And I mean to get the start that we did definitely helped.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
As somebody who does this style of draft a lot from those spots, I have never once seen Drake May there. Now I only did like 30 something of them. I didn't, max it like I know who
I
Hames
did
maxed it.
I
I'm
did
sure you.
150, and outside of week 1, I don't think I saw May anywhere near there.
Yeah. And so I tell you what, before we talk a little more and get out of here, I'm gonna do my boy a favor. Mark got mad at me the last time you were on my channel because he was in a draft with us, and I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but you were about to give your thoughts on his team, and I went off on some JT tangent that I always go on, and he was giving me hell afterwards because we never went back. So I'm gonna let you call out his team
All
and
right.
then give him your thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. Let me take a drink of water real quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's see, 3782, Lamar, Dak, Stafford. So three good starting quarterbacks, all different buys. I like that a lot. Then Chan, Jones, Dobbins, Stevenson, Braylon Allen, Jarquez Hunter, Ford, buying the Ford. Nice, because I think both Ford and Sampson should be going up. Yeah, I think that's a, even though you only have like one like top tier running back in Achan, you have another starter, and then a lot of like very usable guys, Dobbin, Stevenson, Allen, with some upside plays at the end, Hunter and Ford. So very strong running back room throughout. Ladd, Pickens, Judy, Golden. So, four starters there. I'm not the biggest Leggett guy, but I get it. Second year, first round pick. Tutu, Deontay Johnson, Adonai Mitchell, another young upside receiver. So I like that balance at receiver, like four guys you feel confident in it on, and then it's like lotto ticket, lotto ticket, lotto ticket, which makes sense. Because you're only starting two. So even if some of those guys bust, this is, and I've talked about this with Who Games, like this is where you take some shots on these guys. Like I don't take a lot of Leggett, but I much rather take him in Superflex than a regular, because if I'm wrong, it doesn't hurt me near as bad. Um, and then finally, I mean, Kittle Craft is fantastic tight end room. So yeah,
Mhm.
I like this team. I think it's very competitive. It's going to be right in the mix with one of the two spots. So I think we might have one locked up. So hopefully get the second one.
Yes, I like our team a lot for sure, for sure. Let me see something real quick. I think I can do this and then go to that. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you off there, Steve.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that. I didn't mean to kick you off. I was playing with some of the different settings. Let's catch up on the chat a little bit, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it a night. I gotta get up a little earlier than normal tomorrow. Let's see. We saw that one. Think I can skip down below that. Was it that your video on Curtis Samuel, not even Diggs? Not sure what that was talking
One of
about.
those Twitter doctor things. Somebody was criticizing that for the
Ah,
Samuel video.
yes, 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 yes. You're right. Guess let's just start at the end and go up. it can, the conservative coach, though, that's nice. Give me 20 Arians and calling you out post game. Didn't look like we missed much. Much of it was just them talking back and forth with each other. But no, I appreciate you coming on tonight, Steve. It's always fun talking to you, man. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
especially as somebody new to the underdog streets, and I know that you are very well versed in all the different contests and strategies to them and all that. And even when you're not on my channel, I've been trying to listen to you as much as I can, to be
Yeah.
honest. Pick your brain a little bit.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. I'll have to get you on my channel soon. We'll have to work out of time. But yeah, sorry about the power issue and me being late, but I'm glad it still worked out that I could come on.
Yeah, no, for sure. We had fun as always, and I really like that second one. I like the first one that we drafted, but yeah, getting
Yeah.
the Gibbs and CMC and then still Drake as your first quarterback, that was really really
Yeah,
nice.
for sure.
But anyways, we're going to get out of here, guys. Thank you for stopping in. Oh, real quick, by the way, Steve, you got anything cool coming up on your channel the next few days you want to shout out?
Yeah, Meg and I will do Sibling Showdown tomorrow night. I need to double check the time, probably like 8. And then on Friday, we're trying to get push our subs to 740 if we can. Meg is going to multi-table 5 puppies at once, which is
Whoa.
going to be, that is not her wheelhouse, so that'll be interesting. And then that night, she's got Candyman as her friends with best ball that night, so it should be
Okay,
good.
okay. Fun show, fun show. Yeah, and hit You guys know who Steve is, but if for some reason you're watching this and you don't, his links to his Twitter and to his YouTube are in the description. I know you and your sister run the Fanspeak I can't think of it right now. Where y'all write the
Fanspeak
articles.
Network. Yeah.
Substack.
Oh, Substack. Yeah.
Substack. Couldn't think of the name of the actual site or whatever. Follow him on there. I know it's like what 30 something bucks for the whole year or
Yeah.
whatever.
35 for a year, whole year. But yep.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
we will see you guys later. Thanks for stopping in as always. I'll be back tomorrow drafting some stuff with you guys.
But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things